Okay, let's see. Why don't we start out with this? Say this is an interview on February 26, 2017 of Robert and Louise Beckett. Asking the questions will be Timothy Beckett and David Beckett.
Why were you given the first and middle names that you have?
I was given the middle name because my cousin was named Gary, and my grandfather on my father's side was named Gary.
As far as I know, I wasn't named after anyone other than my mother had a good friend named Dorothy, and that's my first name. How I got Louise, I don't know.
When did you start being called Louise?
From day one, as far as I know. My mother and dad always called me Louise.
What's your first most vivid memory?
I've got snatches of memories way back when I was 3 and 4 years old, of being in kindergarten, of being when we lived out in the country, a lot of little visuals, and that was when I was probably 4. So those two. My most vivid memory, though, really is when I was 3, and my mother picked me up after she'd been to work, and I can remember going down the hall and waiting for her to unlock the door to our apartment.
About you?
I forgot.
The question was?
Oh, yeah, I know. I think when I was I was about 3 years old, living on Emerson Avenue, playing in the backyard.
So tell me about your parents. What memories do you have of them? Where were they born?
My mother was born in Cincinnati. My father was born in McConnellsville, Ohio.
Where's that?
It's probably somewhere southeast of Columbus.
Do you know where they met?
No. My dad was, at that time, was a traveling salesman. And he wasn't an eye doctor until much later.
What did he sell?
I don't know.
Okay.
How about you, Mom?
My mother and father were 16 in Tennessee, and they left. Well, actually, I think my dad left Tennessee for Ohio to try to get a job and make some money, and at what point I don't know that Mother joined him, but they were married at age 16.
Underneath the tree.
Underneath the tree. Yes, we've got record of that, don't we?
Right. Who was more strict, your mother or father? And do you have a vivid memory of something you did that you were disciplined for?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my father was the strictest. And if he said jump, you'd ask him how high. And probably the worst thing I got spanking for was I was supposed to dig up so many weeds in the front yard, and my brother had cut grass, so there was a lot of grass laying on the yard. I put that in a bushel basket and put the weeds on top, so it looked like I did a lot. When he found out, I had to go back in our backyard and cut a switch from the pussy willow tree. And that's what I got whipped on the back of my legs.
How old were you, would you guess?
Oh, gosh.
You had to be
10.
10
10 or 11.
And, yeah, Dad was more strict, but Mother was just more understanding. And actually, I don't ever remember being disciplined. I've never had a spanking.
How about your grandparents? Do you remember anything about them? Where they were born, where they came from, when they passed?
Yeah, my grandfather and grandmother on my mother's side was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, and they died on my, I don't know if my grandmother died first or my grandfather on a train. And in those days, I never knew my grandparents very much because children were to be seen, not heard, and we weren't around. And my grandfather on my father's side I only saw once or twice, and one time was in the hospital, and he died before I really knew him. And my grandmother I never knew.
Well, my grandparents were in Tennessee. My dad's father was very gruff, and I really didn't like him, and it had nothing really to do, no real relationship with him. I loved my mother's parents. They were hard workers and very loving and accepting. My grandfather actually was a Sunday school superintendent in the Little Methodist Church nearby. And my grandfather died earlier, but my grandmother lived to be, I think, 82 or 80 something.
So, was it your grandfather that we went, or grandmother we went when we were old enough to go to Tennessee? Because I have memories of being in their home. Someone, what did your...
Not there, but Uncle Amy's.
Uncle Amy.
No, not Uncle Amy's.
No,
we went. That was when I was talking about. It looked like after the Civil War, it was kind of beat up.
Yeah, no electricity.
They had chickens.
Oh yes, and I said that they had. That was their house before the next one, I think.
But whose grandmother?
That would have been my...
Your maternal.
Lottie Jean Newberry was her name.
Yeah.
Okay.
And his name was Henry Newberry.
Yeah, that place kind of scared me.
Well, that house was the one they first were in, and then they had the big white house with a porch across the front. But none of their houses had power or inside facilities.
Just like Kenya.
Yeah.
What were you like as a child? What did you like to eat? What did you do for fun? What were your favorite toys or games? Did you ever have a secret place or a favorite hiding spot?
Well, that could take forever.
You can pick out one of them. I know I was asking a long time ago.
I never had a secret hiding place. And I guess my favorite toy was a train. What was the other question?
What did you like to eat?
Mashed potatoes.
Really?
Even back then, yeah. And turkey.
They had invented mashed potatoes by the time?
Trains and turkey.
I don't recall ever having a favorite food. I do remember when I was 5 having a really good, nice treat in the summer to get to walk to the duck dairy, which was near us when we lived on Buchanan. That was that was on the other side of Hamilton. And you could get an ice cream cone with 3 dips of ice cream for 5 cents. And that was a real treat. But 5 cents was a big deal at the time.
So, did either of you walk to school? And if you did, what do you remember about walking to and from school?
Well, I walked 5 miles a day to school.
To Milliken?
No, the Hamilton High.
Well, how about when you were younger?
Oh, well, I walked to
Adams.
Fillmore.
Oh, that's right. You were at Fillmore.
What do you remember about anything about any of those walks stand out?
Other than I think I fell in love with my first grade teacher.
You and Opie Taylor, huh?